Hello guys, this is your favorite Wiggly Willy in Path of Exile, Act 10. We made all the necessary preparations, story-wise, for taking care of Kitava. Let's see if it works.
It is good to see that you survived, my friend. But then, you have fared far worse. The froth of a violent ocean should be no problem for you. While we have been absent, Oriath has become a necropolis, a swarm of Kitava's wretched servants. The situation looks more dire than I had first anticipated. Before we make our move, we must know what we are dealing with. I send you, Exile, as a scout. As the only scout that would stand a chance.
Yes, the only scout apart from several hundred people here.
Only then can we issue our final blow. Farewell.
Well, once more, you owe me for letting you sail around on me ship. But that's okay. I'm the kind of gal who can play the long game.
Wink, wink.
Sometime in the future, I'll be in need of your services once more. You can pay me back then. All right, come on. You got a job to do. Lives to save, goals to kill. Better get to it.
Welcome ye to Oriath. Smell that fresh landlubber air. Ain't nothing like the air in Theopolis, full of debauchery and pollution, hidden neath the garb of them holy Templars. Seems the place has changed a fair bit since last I were here. A lot more blood and entrails than what I remember. Well,
Yeah.
Lily and I stay here, where it be safe. You journey on ahead, matey, and see what blimey buggers you get to kill next. Say, you're not in the market for a new cutlass or anything, are ya? Recently unlocked the Black Crest's old armory. Found a whole shitload of weapons in there from another time. If you fancy it, be glad to show you my stock. See if there's anything in there you'd like to pick up. Fair winds and cut.
The prodigal returns. Have you brought with you a weapon to free us? The ravenous one has only grown more hungry since you left us, and I fear your efforts may be too little, too late. Kitava has all but destroyed us here, and our poor departed Utula's cultists have taken hold of the city. There's little ground left to tread that won't cause the grasping claws of Hinekora to reach out and wring our pretty little necks. I see your eyes, Exile. You wonder why I am here instead of at the Overseer's Tower. I'll tell you the horrible truth. The tower has fallen to the infernal devices of Kitava. That witch, Violenta, is to blame. She lowered a secret ladder and led Kitava's cultists right to our very beds. Bannon and I barely escaped with our lives. Together, we cut through the hordes, but it was no use. They had us surrounded. Bannon created a distraction which allowed me to flee. When I last saw him, he was perched atop the rooftops, holding off our enemies, though how long he will last, I cannot say. If you are going that way, perhaps you can find him and return him to me. I have grown fond of that Templar. The fire of Namahu burns within his belly. It would not fare well for us in this war if that fire were lost.
Well, stop bullshitting me now and chit-chatting. We have to save Bannon. And then we're gonna talk with the rest.
You there?
Ooh.
Exile! I am in need of your services once more. Help me!
Defeat Plague Wind. Easy. You alright? He's taking a beating.
I would thank God for you, my friend, if that weren't too on the nose. I felt for sure that this time it was my turn to depart our world. Kitava's cultists surrounded Lani and I a while back. We split up and I led a distraction so she could make best her escape.
Good work.
Funny, I really should have considered my own plan for evasion once I'd allowed her
Yep.
hers. In any case, it is good to see you again, Exile. Let us talk more in a safer space. I shall meet you back at the docks.
Okay. That's a quick one, at least I didn't have to go through any transition locations.
Good to see you made it back. You look at me with suspicious eyes. Yes, I know you have your apprehensions about me and my new indwelling spirit. But if it helps a little, I feel innocence stirring inside me, awakening with an odd sense of gratitude towards you. It was, after all, your bite that returned him to humility, allowed the scales to drop from his eyes. If you are to go wandering the city in its current state, be careful where you step. Kitava's cultists are constantly on the prowl, actively seeking food for their god. What's worse, the passage to Kitava's feast is blocked off by two large black gates. We call them Kitava's horns, and they are utterly impenetrable to the motions of man. There is but one way in which we can reach Kitava and deprive him of his eternal meal. The staff of Avarius lies somewhere amongst the rubble of the Chamber of Innocence, still billowing with holy power. If you were to find it and return it to me, I believe the power in the staff will act as power enough to break through the horned gates.
Sounds like a plan.
Innocence blesses your journey.
Bannon is alive and well. In no small way thanks to you, I would be willing to guess. Without him being here, I would have lost my sanity or my life a long time ago. Take this gift as a token of both our appreciation.
I think you're a bit exaggerating.
Now that you have returned, and we have managed to sturdy ourselves once more abreast this mighty ship, I ask of you one more favor. Find that traitor Violenta and kill her. Though I wish to see her dead as revenge for her insurrection, Violenta has become something far worse under the radiation of Kitava's gaze. She must be stopped. Remember, we do this.
Now that the Brine King is nothing but crab meat, his sunken domain, the ancient city of Soartha, is ripe for the plundering. My granddaddy once dedicated a good portion of his sailing life trying to hunt down the location of that monolithic city. Then, while he were otherwise indisposed, yours truly tried to follow in his gnarled footsteps, track down the teardrop, a pearl as big as your head, carved with the clues to the city's subaquatic location. I was this close to completing my grandfather's legacy when those damn Templar privateers raided me ship and took off with the teardrop, threw it in their reliquary here in Theopolis. As it were, now's the perfect time to retrieve that dazzling pearl. Think you can nab it for me? I'll make it worth your while. Maybe tick it off the list of things you owe me.
Should be easy.
Was a time when the ladies would be begging for a bit of old Whalem, but I ain't felt the warm caress of a woman in a long time, and it wounded me dreadful. During my time on the sea, I heard tale of Queen Exile, and her penchant for using this land as a kind of vote for all her special shinies. One such shiny be her famed love potion, supposed to attract the drinker's ideal mate to their loins, even if that mate be far across the sea. Old Queen Exile kept the liquid in the skull of her favorite lover. Them damn Templars on it by now, and the potion's bizarre container has me thinking they probably went and tossed it into the ossuary along with the rest of the bones they got lying around. Exile. Be you the friend I believe you to be, then find a potion for me, so that I can experience true love once more. See you, chum.
That really doesn't sound good, but I'm gonna help him anyway.
Then it is as I feared. Kitava's strength has grown insurmountable in our absence, and his horns now deny us entry to his feeding trough. Evidently, the hungry god has grown picky about what crumbs now travel towards his burgeoning throat. It is this strength that concerns me. I have spoken with our friend Bannon over there, a willful vessel of my misguided brother. I knew eventually we would need to enlist my brother's services, though I had hoped we need not do so this soon. Yet, it seems that we have no other choice. We must invoke my dormant brother, slumbering within Bannon's frame. Kitava's horns are a which only innocence's purity can dispel.
Ah, Bannon.
I feel I must confide something in you. Bannon wishes me not to speak of it, as he is willing for the sacrifice. However, I feel you should know. Once we invoke innocence, once we dredge him up from his cocoon inside the soul of Bannon, the man shall cease to be. Only the god shall remain. Do you understand what I say, Exile? If we take this path, Bannon will die. Excruciatingly so. Burnt with purity from the inside out.
Shit.
Bannon is willing to commit his life to this cause. But perhaps you should say your farewells before we move past the point of no return.
Shit.
Remember, humanity needs us.
That Bannon's a real siren if you ask me. Even after the beating he's taken. Bulging muscles, pretty yellow hair. I'd be willing to bet the barrel of his piece is longer than a ship's mast as well.
Woohoo.
If you be understanding me drift. It's a shame in all honesty that he's one of them foolish holy men. Though even that ain't so bad. Lily Roth loves herself a challenge. Not much I can say about that raving monster. While he still breathes, it fares ill for all of us. There ain't no amount of ocean we can put between us and him that Kitava won't see as simply an extra jug of wine in his cup.
True.
Every cell-dwelling lad or lass knows of Soartha. They call it a city, but more of a slaughterhouse than anything else. Old Salty himself ruled over the place, treating its citizens as morsels from his own personal pantry. Those that weren't devoured outright were picked to try continuous family line. They became fishwives like that pretty young Nessa near ended up being. Well, the Brine King, as you know, was forced into a slumber neath the ocean, and the city was said to have joined him there as well. A few folk managed to flee from the collapsing coral shards, start new lives for themselves, but I'll be reckoning they left all their valuables behind. Were a long time ago now. Them privateers took the teardrop, threw it in the reliquary, then took yours truly and threw me in those goddamn slave pens. Far as I can tell, they never did work out what the teardrop before. Lucky me, I suppose. It was tough, but with the help of a few other undesirables, I managed to find me way out of them pens and into the reliquary. Made an attempt to burgle back what was burgled from me. Boy, did we sure underestimate the size of them guards the Templars had on the place. Only I managed to escape unscathed. My accomplices weren't to be so lucky. They ended up in Ray classed, much like yourself. Fact, I believe you may have crossed paths. Creighton?
Shit.
Oak?
I did.
There you... Nah, there's a woman who can hold her own. Oh, hey, look at her. A marvelous specimen of the female persuasion. Reminds me of Meredith, me long-lost sweetheart. Would it be that I could have a woman like that at my side once more?
Well, he's into the native part of both Rayclast and Oriah.
And a few other things in my bed.
Oh,
now that'd be the dream. Lousy, good-for-nothing blackguard. In all me years at sea, never have I ever serviced a filthy blackguard on my lovely ship. If the Brown King still drew breath, I tell you, having this bannon aboard would be an affront to the Lord of Salt and Scale. Him and his kind have hung, thrown, and courted too many of ours. I don't rightly trust him. Not at all.
Well, it seems that without him, we're gonna fail.
Me thinks Lily is fixing to have her way with that damn blackguard. Well, I tell you, not if I have anything to say about it. Look at me. Never thought I'd see the day when old Whalem were to be the prudish grandfather. Yet here we are. Damn conscience will be the death of me.
Huh.
If you're thinking about dying, trust me.
In another life, perhaps Lily and I would have sailed the oceans together. I enjoy her presence and the conversation she brings. She has a call for adventure, coupled with a kind of optimism I
Aww,
rarely see.
that's so
I hope
sweet.
once all of this settles down, we might remain friends. I don't quite enjoy Whalem as much as I do his granddaughter, but Lily favors him, and so I will too. Unless he does something truly horrid that forces me to revoke my opinion. A dark angel on your shoulder, perhaps? In another time, the presence of this god would trouble me, perhaps even frighten me. But in these days, I cannot afford the sensation of surprise. If he's helped you this far, as you say, then one might expect he will help you all the way to the bitter end, and that is good enough for me. Kitava's appetite has grown bigger than even his devotees had expected. His hunger moves faster now than his followers can keep up. I suppose the canals were the perfect answer to their problem, really. They converted them into one giant feeding trough to bring food to his mouth at a speedier rate.
Nasty.
Before their god rose from the depths, Utula and his cultists had direction. They wished to see Kitava free to stage his horrifying banquet. I was foolish enough to believe these theological mumblings as symbols for Karui freedom. Now that their prophecies have come to fruition, the cultists have lost their minds. It's hard enough to believe the end times of your chosen religion will ever happen, let alone to last longer than the final pages of your holy book.
Wah.
For freedom.
Hello. You needn't fret. The Dark Ember is still safely in my possession, and will remain so until our final confrontation with Kitava. That carnivorous blasphemy will fall like a log cut from the darkest of forests, and we shall watch him burn as Oriath and the rest of this world breathes a sigh of relief. Lily Roth is a noble... how do you say it? Scallywag? I have witnessed the rise and fall of many great men and women over the eons, and Lily is well on her way to being amongst the very best of them. I suspect one day her name shall be sung in salty taverns the world around. I must remember to keep on her good side, now that she can see me. The beautiful pirate princess hunting down the great god Sin would make for a fantastic tale, I'm sure, but one I would rather have remain in the pages of fiction. Aside from my own presence, I no longer feel the vibrations of other gods. Though there may yet be more out there, for now, Rayclass can breathe a sigh of relief. However, we must turn our sights to Kitava, who still gorges himself on those poor souls trapped in Oriath. You have drunk your fill of my kind. The essence of deity courses through your veins, waiting to be expunged upon a chosen victim. We can only hope it will be strength enough to face that demoniac of a god.
Yeah, I hope so too.
While they had me trapped, I heard those cultists' mad gibberings. Their words were akin to that of the Ray-classed cannibals. nonsensical sentences accompanied by the most unsettling of cackles. I fear that they have
The
indulged
Black
too deeply into
Spirit.
Kitava's famed habit and caught the laughing plague that so often accompanies men and women who choose to engage in the consumption of human flesh. As I'm sure you've noticed, that damnable god Kitava no longer resides on the rooftops, as last you were here. No. The monster has acclimatized himself to Theopolis. He has set up quite the banqueting table for himself. It appears he believes he has a lot of consumption to catch up on. Best I can tell, his new residence lies through the ravaged Oriath Square and past the canals, now the feeding troughs. Heed my warning, friend. Tread lightly through that area, for those cultists are out and about once more, actively seeking food for Kitava to devour. I wouldn't blame you for being curious about the god now dwelling within me. In truth, I'm honored to have been chosen to be Innocence' vessel. You may hear this and think I sound like a pious Templar fool, but it is hard to remain an unbeliever when the gods walk around you, and indeed one sleeps inside you. No need to fear, however.
But what do
Our
we
poor purity
need
god
to
surely
believe in
regrets the
such
actions of his
case?
past. I can't see him, but I can feel his spirit, wounded and cowering somewhere inside me. At night, I hear him whimpering over his wounds. I must say, you hurt him good. But as much as I feel his pain, I also feel a budding newness in his heart. He is growing again, and relearning the compassion for humanity that he had long since lost. The Chamber of Innocence is exactly where you left it, though cultists and vandals may have had their way with it since last you visited. Innocence himself no longer cares for the place. In fact, I feel a pained revulsion for it, hence why I cannot go myself. But I'm certain you are more than capable of forging a path through that broken temple once again.
Easy.
Back when the cultists took control of the city, the very ground itself shook, as if pained by some dark abomination. The gnarled horns of Kitava erupted from the earth like spiraling pillars of corruption, weaving together a barrier impeding travelers from moving through the city.
Now,
Never give up.
we know what we need to do. As for the order, we're gonna see how we can navigate through.
The corrupt shall fall.
Well, there's really not much to say. We need to barrage for the enemies. Squeeze the life out of them. And kick Kitama in the tummy. So he's not hungry ever more. You wanna play dirty?
I am no beast of burden.
Shit. Did the cathedral get longer? Our survivability seems more or less okay. At least when we're against the minions. So maybe I'm gonna squeeze a bit more from the damage output. We're gonna start with Vilenta, and to reach her, we probably need to go here. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Great, we've got Kitava's mark made in blood. And the waypoint, bang! Oh, we also had a waypoint there. Well, we missed it. It's probably in a more crucial spot.
Bugger me to the depths if it ain't me fate.
Nope. Nope.
Fair winds and calm seas.
Shit. Hide it, come on. Here. 979. It's good to know that the fella is giving us quite a boost. I'm wondering, is Vilenta staying in her old lab? I mean, Piety's lab? Or closer to the tower? Come on. Ignites. Woohoo! Well, at this point, it's nothing but a typical hack and slash progression. We have some quests, but they're like more to fill some spots. Ooh. Yeah, this just wanna have fun, eh? Arena. One, two. Maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. Or nah. Multiplier or chance? This is a chance. Multiplier, multiplier. Chance and multiplier. Okay. Lady! Whew. What the hell? Woohoo! Nope, 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 nope. They never learn. They never improve. So, 12,000. 13,000. Sweet. It's probably because of that lightning damage boost. Not this one. 13. This is 12. With this guy. Okay, so the guy doesn't really give us that much. $20. So it's 80. 80,000 DPS. In addition to, with the addition of our potions. In the heat of the fight, I forgot to add to the quick slots the other one. The mongrel potion. Okay. It took us too long. This was quick. It's a reliquary. Well, the monster really have a problem with the fact that with their curse, they are being knocked back. Okay, we've got it. Pearl case. Uh-huh. Yes, sorry, I'm not gonna try to read it. That was a nice hit. Time to get my rewards.
Exile, you're a giant among men.
Wink,
You
wink.
have no idea how long I have yearned to have this beauty once more in my hands. The teardrop is surprisingly still in pretty good condition. Not too typical of the baubles them Templars like to steal. We'll stick around a while longer, but once things settle down, my grandfather and I will be setting sail with Sir Arthur firm in our sights.
Well, it's gonna be hard to beat this one, but you never can tell. But this is not your day, Mr. Belt.
You return from your hunt triumphant. Then Violenta is dead. I wish I could say that a celebration is in order, but in our current existence, I've had all I can stomach of banquets and feasts. Here. For freedom.
For freedom. $12.80 per totem for a base. Ooh. Okay, we're at the center. The Rotten Matriarch. So it's the third time she got whooped. If this is the cathedral, then the ossuary is this way. Oh. Ah, finally! Something lore related. I wonder if I could... No, too far. Teleport? Relish ni hunger, fear faithful, for hunger is the one true state of spiritual abundance. When one is hungry, they desire more, and therefore align themselves with the will of the mighty Kitava. Beware, my followers of the satisfied man, for he is the very pattern and image of blasphemy, the holy book of hunger by High Priest Utulla. Yeah, he still managed to write down some shit before we took him down. Maybe they've got a memoir. Huh. Okay, so here we've got the ossuary. Here we've got the horns. So let's take the staff. And then go to the ossuary. The torched quartz. Well, the route is probably the same as always. First, as far as you can go to this side, then down. Circle the whole place as much as it's possible while going down. Oh, an altar. No fancy stronger monsters given a sermon. Nah. Has the library. Big one. And here we are. Desecrated chambers. So one more circle. I doubt these stairs are accessible at this point. I wouldn't mind, of course. But it would be too easy, yeah. Where are the assets? So dark. Do you have a new story to tell? Nope. You just destroyed the old one. Oh, more lore. Okay, in this case, I'm gonna actually get back. Go back. Better word. Yeah, doesn't look good. The old imagery of sack. At least they left this one. And our father, the great Kitava, will speak us under the rocks of the earth, pulling himself out of the miry clay. He shall lay a banquet table before us, and we shall feast on his divine bounty. Yeah, you wish? He's the kind of a person to share. Ooh, we've got some Immortal Syndicate members. So they've got a fortification there. Judging by how they were placed. It's a confined space, so it's not gonna be anything different. It seems that with our stacks, we can reach over 100,000 DPS.
I am no beast of burden.
Not even a belt can squeeze in, come on. We need room in the inventory. Nope. 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 Time to beat the crap out of someone.
Care, Exile. Karui and his fortress are not easily separated.
There's a Karui there. We've got a Karui inside.
How did I fail?
Well, probably because Tukohama is dead, and I took him down.
Enough blood has been shed today, warrior. Put down your weapon, and I will offer you an opportunity. There is one in my new tribe I would deceive. Give me a reason to, and I will tell you that which I know about them. Then it is subterfuge.
Hello.
What do we have here? Ah, this is a nice one. If we cared. Life and manners, that's what I like. Fortress. Ha! We're gonna need that additional dexterity. Huh. Ooh, nice painting. Ooh. Avarius reassembled. Yeah. Avarius the decomposed. Worry not for the heavens, they are devoid of soul. Made vessels of wrath, they are damned by holy desire. Oh, he was so pathetic. Now for the elixir. Hello, Lord's Labyrinth Trial. Terror Joe the Woo-Bearer. I'm quite impressed. His name was quite long and still I had enough time to read it. Doesn't happen very often. Ooh, got some reading here. And a shitload of bones. Do we have a boss monster? Anything here? No. Famous for her many lovers, those that did not come willing to Exile came by liquid persuasion. What do we have here? Arrows. Poison. Stuck in poison. Ah, it's a timed one. Or maybe it's not. Easy. Come on, not even a unique monster in a place like this. Yeah, it seems that cemeteries have lower standards now. Nothing interesting here.
I am no beast of burden.
Yeah. Some doors appear open, while other turn to be closed.
Found it!
Uh-huh.
Bless your boots, Exile! Me lady problems will be over at last. Let's give it a go then. I feel nothing. Blast it all to the ocean depths. Ruined. Oh, damn years sitting around in that damned city. The love's magic fits right into
Luck.
the damn thing. Oh well, can't blame a man for trying. Anyway, here's a little something for your effort.
A book of regrets. Yeah, thanks, Whalem.
I fear I have not been entirely honest with you, my friend. While it is true that this staff can forge a path for us through Kitava's horns, it has the ability to revitalize innocence into waking fully. And that is where the staff's true power resides. In this act, I will become his host in the fullest sense. And together, he and his brother Sin will be able to ally with you against the forces of darkness. I bid you farewell, Exile. For where my spirit is set to travel, there is no return. Win this battle. Defeat Kitava. Free our people.
Poor Bannon. Shit. Nothing left.
I am reborn. A new god in a troubled land.
Brother, you have seen better days, I am sure. But for now, you must rouse yourself. We have work to do. If ever you wish to make right the wrongs of your past, help me now. As once I asked you in the early days of mankind. Do this for me, and I shall consider our quarrel to be at its end.
Go, do battle, anointed Exile. Though my brother and I will aid you, I sense the universe conspires for you to be the savior of our world on this day.
Yes?
We need to talk to Lani about this.
Bannon was a man whom I greatly admired, possibly even loved. My heart is grieved to see him depart from us and journey to the home of Hinekora. Yet, he sacrificed himself so that we might live, and stood true to his convictions. This god, this born-again innocence, fills me with unease. Though he appears repentant of his past transgressions, I do not believe he should be forgiven, nor that he should tread this earth any longer than is required. Remember, we do this for freedom.
Oh, Bannon, I'd stake my bets on being a mighty fine demon in sack. Can't go wrong with a man in uniform. Only now, he's gone and transformed into that pesky god of light. I gotta believe that the man is still in there somewhere, but finding my way into his bedsheets at this stage is proving more difficult than I first thought.
Hello.
Don't seem to be anything that'll budge him from wherever he's hiding. Not even an enrapturing roll in the hay with this future pirate queen. Seems to me that by letting old innocence take him over completely, it's like a leech sucking the life right out of him. He's gonna lose out on all them lusty joys of this world, and that ain't something I'd ever think fondly about.
That's life.
Bone and corruption shall not impede the path of purity.
Okay. Det verkte. So, to sum up what this game is about. Probably millennia ago, entities called Sin and Innocence were born. Sin was, well, as sinful as it gets. And due to his wrongdoings, he was in a way destroyed, at least his human form, if he ever had a human form. And he was banished by innocence and his need of purity. But somehow later sin returned. Those were the times when also gods could be made from deeds. So basically people could ascend to being gods to gain in divinity, usually by corruption, pain, and sacrifice. And as sin wanted to make the people suffer less due to the quite troubled nature of the gods, some of whom were directly related to him, he decided to create the beast, a being capable of putting the gods to sleep, to a century-long slumber. But as time passed, some people were capable of making a link with the beast, which, due to its abilities, was also the source of thaumaturgy. And with the connection to the beast, first the Val, thaumaturgist Doriani, wanted to reach greatness for himself and for his queen, which ended in a cataclysm, destroying the whole civilization. But not until they managed to pass on some of their learnings to the Asmeri, people who were living also in Rayclast, but in the mountains. The descendants of Asmeri founded the Great Eternal Empire, of which both Izaro, Precious, and Cheetahs were leaders. And during Cheetah's reign, another thaumaturgist resurfaced, Malachi, who also linked himself to the beast. This is how it shall end. Kitava will rise, and a great cloud of black smoke will cover the sky. The glorious smell of cooking flesh shall entice even the most ardent of unbelievers to the faith, and together we will celebrate and eat at Kitava's table. Ha! And Malachi, as well as Doriani, was a fan of making use of gems infused with immense power. What was the result? Well, in many cases, those were real monstrosities. But as Malachi grew in power, and Emperor Titus was more and more, how to say it, in love with the gems. Some people grew with discontent for him and the gems. One of them was High Templar Vol, who with Victario, the people's poet, Geoffrey, the bishop, and a couple of other very important people decided to conspire against the Empire. Vol and Victario managed to convince the leaders of the Karui, the Ezomites, and the Marakev to help them in their cause. And they invaded Reiklas. Many of the Emperor's generals were defeated. The Emperor himself was killed on the stairs of the Scepter of Gods. Vol became the new Emperor, but corruption started to spread through the land. The Karui chief, Kaum, got deceived, and after his presumable death, his sister, if I remember correctly, if it didn't change in the meantime, led her people back to where they came from, so to Nagakarui or something like that. The Marakev, sensing that there is something wrong with the mountain near Highgate, sealed it off. And Vol wanted to enforce the purity also by, well, taking care of the bodies of the bad. So he wanted to kill Malachi and his disciples. The disciples were executed, but Malachi himself promised Vol that there's a way to destroy the source of the whole magic if, well, Vol would let him to do it. Vol agreed. Malachi infused Lady Diala with gems. She was previously the Emperor's one of his many lovers, and under the pretense of trying to kill the beast, Malachi started another cataclysm and used the rapture device to get into the beast in order to influence it. And after some decades, he grew more powerful, corruption spread even more through the land, and that's basically where our story begins, because for some not fully mentioned sins against the current empire, you were exiled to Raycast. We learned the history and some background behind the cataclysms. We took care of the Templar Order in Raycast, then in Oriath, killing the beast in the meantime, which also led to freeing the gods who were sleeping. And we woke the baddest of the bad. We woke up Kitava, the Devourer of Worlds. He's like a Galactus in the world of Path of Exile, but undeniably more evil. And we made a small circle just to make sure that he's gonna fall.
This is it. It all comes down to this moment to finally put an end to Kitava. Go, Exile. Together we will save humankind.
Well, I told you I'm gonna make the labyrinth. I lied. Even if it means that I might die here, which is highly possible, I prefer to keep the act separate from the labyrinth. Keep your fingers crossed. I have my defenses up. I hope it's gonna be enough. And I just need to be quick enough to cast that portal. Just in case. Kitava, here we go.
I shall strike you down.
What's going on? Something's going on here. Nope. What's going on? Oh, it's eating me. Shit. Hard hitter. Oh, he got Sin. He smacked him on the ground. He's spilling corruption all over. He's burning the place. Ah! Shit, we got lasered. But Sin got free. That was Marks, summoned some monsters. We've got half of him. They're doing some Kamehameha. He vomited his heart out. Now he got innocence. Smack to the ground. Finger in the ground. Shit! Wrong side. Come on. Nope, nope, nope. Don't laser me. Don't. Ah, shit, shit, shit! Ah! It's everywhere! Oh! Close one. Bang! Eat lasers, you douchebag! May I do? Spec, go down! Woohoo! And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
It's over. We emerge victorious. It was always a fool's errand, yet somehow your courage has carried us through. I congratulate you, my friend. Your world may have exiled you, but there will always be a place for you at my table. You have given humanity a fighting chance. Though darkness still covers the face of the earth, there is now a ray of light to pierce it. The insatiable appetite of Kitara has been removed, and you are no exile. Why, you are a hero worthy of praise. May your legend live on into eternity. Come, let us return to the others. They will be needing as many hands as possible for cleaning up this city.
Back to Earth. Woohoo!
By the light of Ramako, you did it. You, a mortal, have crossed the threshold between God and man, and struck the Ravenous One asunder. I'd always held out hope that you would succeed, but at night, I would stay awake worrying that perhaps that hope was a foolish dream. But you've done it. You are no longer an exile, my friend. I honor you, and I'm certain the rest of the world will honor you as well.
Fantasy! That bloody sod is gone from our world. Can't tell you how many times I've heard them Karui savages gibbering in fear over that cannibal god. And of course there's this horror to account for as well. I don't think there's a man, woman, or child in the world that won't be praising your name tonight over a glass of their fire.
Yeah, especially the children.
Speaking of which, where's a man to go to find a little fire water around these parts?
I suspect you're about ready for a flagon of ale. And a pretty wench or swain, whatever it be that's your persuasion. The great exile of Oriath returns to a Theopolis in chaos and ends the life of a raving cannibal god. Now that's a story worth the songs of many an ancient muse. Well, all I can rightly say is congratulations, my friend. A year ago, I wouldn't have dreamt I'd be someday soon in the company of a killer of gods. My advice, you better get while the getting's good and have yourself a holiday before Oriath or Rayclast or whoever else has need for your unique services once more.
Well.
Innocence. You see now, don't you?
Little brother, please forgive me. It's as if I have been dreaming the most horrid nightmare. And now, at last, the haze of sleep lifts from my eyes. My vision is clear. Oh, by the gods, forgive me.
It is as true now as it was when we began. You and I are of the same flesh, cleaved from the same womb. You ask for my forgiveness. I give it to you freely.
But the things I've done, the countless millions I've murdered.
There will be time for all of that later. But for now, your people need you. Oriath needs you.
No. I cannot remain here amongst these ruins, amongst the corpses of my own making. These people, they need you, brother. And your hero. Not me.
Then what? Where will you go? What will you do?
Isolation. I shall go south. As far south as one can travel in such a fleshly form. There are things I must think on. A redemption I need plan. If my conscience decides I am worthy of such a gift.
You would seek forgiveness in the ice at the bottom of the world.
I would. Should you let me.
Go. Seek out that which you need. Find who you are. Make pilgrimage. Journey on your path, brother. Only return to us one day.
Thank you, brother.
What a story, Mark. We've got all of them here. There's Einhard. Alva. June. Navali. And someone new. Oh, we've got also Helena here.
We are all in your debt for what you've done. Oriath stands today only because of your heroism. For my part, I will continue to help you in whatever way I can. I was no wonder child back in Oriath, but I prided myself on what junior accomplishments I managed to put together within the strict set of allowed sciences. Archaeology was my specialty, and Dominus and his ilk had an uncommon fascination with artifacts from the past. And I was told I was crucial, that I was important, because I could tell whether an artifact was truly Val simply by running my hand along faded stone patterns. I may have had a head slightly too big for my shoulders. When the Ebony Legion made available an archaeologist position on their expedition to Rayclast, and nobody volunteered, I thought my colleagues were all simply afraid of continental dangers.
Yeah.
No, they knew better. None were allowed to speak it openly, but they knew. I didn't find out what kind of society I was truly a part of until I saw Piety's aspirations. I studied the Val. I knew all about their downfall, or at least our Templar-twisted perception of it. Piety's ocean of slaughter. The Val called their hubris the apex of sacrifice. The Eternal Empire called theirs the Purity Rebellion. We call ours the Temple of Lunaris. And I know nothing, Exile. Nothing at all. Save that we are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past unless we learn the hard way.
Journey will.
Before Kitava tore this city apart, the Templar kept many artifacts hidden deep beneath the city streets. The only surviving remnants of the Templar theocracy are what they hoped to hide forever. I think it's time to pull back the veil. There's an entrance to the Templar laboratory not far from here. My father used to sneak me inside as a child. He never could stand the long work days apart. Come, there's something I think you need to see.
Well, that basically marks the end of the basic content. We went through the whole game, act by act. Now, it's time to start a new adventure by exploring what the endgame content has in store for us, what other not yet explored League adventures are waiting for us, and Also, what's left in 2 instances of the Lord's Labyrinth? Thank you for watching. It was my pleasure going through Path of Exile with you. Leave a comment if you have any thoughts. Thank you for watching. See you later, alligators. Bye, 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 bye.